Good morning, you guys. Thanks for joining me. If you have been liking my videos, I would love it if you would like, share, and subscribe. And today what we're going to do is cure a fresh ham. We raise our own hogs, and we found when we get the hams in like 1-inch cut steaks, they don't do very good if you just try to cook them as they are. So what we've been doing is just putting them in the crock pot and making pulled pork. But I finally found a recipe, and I've done it 3 times, and it comes out perfect every time for brining a fresh ham. So here's my recipe. I'll show you. So here it is. I found it on the internet. I cannot remember which website, but I'll take a screenshot of this. And basically, I kind of cross off a couple of things, but I wrote down here what I do, because this is about 2 of my fresh hams, and I add salt, water, some of this pink salt, and a cup of brown sugar. And that seems like a lot, but a lot of it gets rinsed off when you're going through the process. So this is the pink salt I bought, I believe, on Amazon. I bought this quite a while ago. And they make it pink because they want to make sure that you don't use it as table salt like this. So they color it on purpose, and that's what gives your hams that nice pink coloring. Okay, so let me get you set up here and I'll show you my hams. Alright, so this is how we get our fresh hams packaged. We have them cut it into like a 1-inch thick steak kind of, and we just have 1 in each package. Because usually 1, if we throw in the crock pot, makes a perfect amount for our family for a dinner and a lunch. So what I need to do is weigh these to make sure, so I can get my other ratios correct. So I'm going to put, I do 2 of these at a time, because that will last us for 2 meals. And this is just over, it's 4 pounds and 11 ounces, which is just about what I have measured out. 4 pounds 10 ounces, 4 pounds 8 ounces is what I've done before, and this is kind of like the divided ratio for this. So if you have a 7-pound pork roast, you can just use these measurements, but I never want to do that much, so it's just over half of that. All right, so what I do next is I do my brining liquid first, and all my measurements there. And then I mix it, and then I put my hands in and add with the water, okay? So first, I need to add in just regular salt, and that's 1 1/4 cup of salt. All right, so that's 1 1/4 cups of salt. And we do 1 1/2 tablespoons of this pink salt. Make sure if you have kids to store this way far away from them, because it is very deadly if they ingest this incorrectly. So I keep it in my spice cabinet on the very top where the kids can't reach. Now 1 cup of brown sugar. And this gives it like that really nice sweet taste like you would buy in the store type of ham. That's what this ends up tasting exactly like for us when I follow this recipe. Okay, so now I'm going to add in 12 cups of water. All right, so I added my 12 cups of water, and you just want to kind of stir it all together. It doesn't have to be like perfectly incorporated or anything or diluted. It actually does say that you're supposed to like bring it up to a boil and whatnot. And you can do this in any stainless steel or glass bowl, like anything non-reactive. So once I do that, I will go ahead and unwrap my hams and put them in. I'm doing this over the sink since they're pretty liquidy. All right, and this is what they look like before you brine them. And then I can save this little bone here in the center, because we're going to smoke these hams after we brine them, and then I can use those in my greens, like a smoked ham hock. All right, and this is number 2. All right, so what I like to do, what you should do, because they'll kind of float to the top like that, see? So you want to keep it underneath the brine all the time. You want to fill it with the liquid, and that will keep your meat under there. All right, so this is a multi-day process. So this goes for this amount, it would be probably about 2 days is what I've done. So this will stay all day tomorrow, all day today and tomorrow, and then tomorrow morning I will rotate the hams. So I'll flip them over and switch places, and then they'll go for another day. So they'll go in this for 2 days, and then you want to rinse them and soak them in water for a full day. If you want it really salty, don't do that, just rinse it. But if you want it to where you can eat it, you want to rinse the steaks and then soak them in regular water for a full day, and then we're going to smoke them. So I'll bring you back for the next step in 2 days. Oh, make sure you store this in the refrigerator. Hey guys, so it's been a couple of days and the hams have been curing in my refrigerator in the barn. So now halfway through, I went through and I flipped them around just so the curing could, the mixture could get to all parts of the steaks. So now I'm gonna go grab the bowl from the barn and we'll rinse them and put them in some water. Let's go get them. All right, so I brought this in from the barn. So what I'm gonna do is drain all of this salty flavored water. And I'm going to rinse my steaks. I cleaned my sink already, so I'm just going to rinse them with some cool water. Just to kind of get that outside layer of salt and brine off. And I'm going to just go ahead and pour out all of my seasoning here. Sure you get all the salt out of your pot, because now we're going to fill it with fresh water and let it soak in this for another whole day. If you want it more salty, you can just rinse it and leave it as is, or you can just soak it for a few hours or half a day or overnight or whatnot. But I found it gets way too salty if you don't soak it overnight. At least overnight. All right, so I'm just gonna fill that up with water and I'm gonna pop it back in my barn fridge. All right, guys, after these soaked in just the water for a day, I went ahead and drained all the water and they sat in the fridge for another day like that. And today we're gonna smoke them. So we have a smoker pellet grill, so we'll just put it on there at 200 degrees for about 2 hours, and then we'll wrap them in some foil. And they'll go for about 20 more minutes after that. Then they'll be ready to go. All right, guys, we have our smoker grill in our barn just so it stays under cover and it's on the concrete here. So I thought I'd give you a little update on what we got going on here. I don't know if you can see that it looks like white there. Maybe it might focus in. So we're running at 200 degrees. It's just under that right now. And here we have our smoke set at 6. And then we have one of our thermometers inside one of the hams, and it's at 60 right there. So it's been on for just over 2 hours. So what we'll do next is take them out and wrap them in foil, and then they'll finish cooking on the grill inside the foil, and that will help it absorb some of the juices and stuff. Let's take a quick peek. Oh, and this is a Camp Chef Woodwind Pellet smoker. And as you can see, it definitely gets used a lot. We've had this one for a couple of years and we use it at least once a week. All right, so I'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. All right, guys, we brought these in about 20 minutes ago. So after I talked to you last, we went ahead and wrapped them up in some foil all the way around and put them back on just to finish cooking and to absorb some of their juices. So this is what it looks like when they're finished, just like a regular ham. So now we need to taste it and make sure it's good, right? So I reheated up some mashed potatoes and some quinoa that we had. And I got some broccoli from the garden, so we'll have that with this meal tonight. So you can see it a little better. So this should be just like a regular smoked ham that you get at the grocery store, like for Easter. Let's taste it. That's perfect. It's got such a great smoky flavor to it. And I'll save these hocks here and some of the fats maybe to cook down with some collard greens later on. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you give this a shot if you ever raise your own pigs and get these wonderful fresh hams. All right, I got a little taste tester. Go ahead and take a little piece.
Really juicy, nice. I really like the texture.
Oh, I'm so glad. All right, let's make up some plates.